Saturday, March 28th. Today we are going to have a panel of agents talking about how are we going to sell in this environment. I have three amazing agents with me that I will make the introduction shortly. I wanted to do some housekeeping. We started promoting all of these videos on YouTube as well. So there is a channel. If you have people that are not part of the group, some of the suppliers, we're going to post some of the things there on the YouTube channel as well. Everything is going to be organized with videos. So if you could subscribe, like the videos, it would help a lot for the channel. And what we have planned for this week, Tuesday, we're having a session for insurance with Allianz. I'm trying to get another insurance company to join us next week as well. I have Europe Express scheduled, and hopefully next week I'm going to do a webinar session about the whole the benefits, signing unemployment, getting loans. I'm still trying to learn the situation. I spoke with an accountant. I'm going to try and see it will be different from each state to state, but I am going to try and help sort out the everything. Okay, so I am going to start introducing our panel for today. The first one is Michele Cartwright, and she is let's start, Michele.
Hello everybody, I'm Michele Cartwright. I am the owner of Destinations by Design Travel Agency. I founded it 7 years ago, which seems unbelievable, in a little town called Eleanor, West Virginia. I am home-based, like many of you. I am now in South Carolina, and I continue to grow the agency, even in these crazy times with COVID-19. And hopefully we can touch on some of those ways that we can connect with our clients and new clients later on without being insensitive to the current situation.
Perfect. So our second panelist is Dawn.
Hi, I'm Dawn Ardito. I'm with Purple Martin Vacations. I opened my agency in 2012. We are a collective of 4 agents currently. I'm in the Chicagoland area, but we are scattered all across the USA to serve lots of clients. And we specialize in a lot of family travel, but that also includes like retirees, grandma and grandpa trips, and you know, some honeymoons and younger travelers as well.
Perfect. And our last speaker.
Hey everyone, my name's Stephen Gould. I'm the owner of Goulds Travel and also the president and founder of Engage Tourism. And I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. I've been in the industry for about 10 years when I opened up my agency. I do have a storefront here in Clearwater, but unfortunately, like everyone else, we are closed and home-based right now. So we're kind of just figuring out the next steps as far as marketing and moving forward in these troubled times right now.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and moderate the live. We're going to start in the same order that with the introductions. Each agent's going to talk about how are they planning to sell in this environment. And if you have any questions, I'll try and gather them from the group. And we'll see how it goes. So Michele, why don't you start? How are you selling in this environment?
So it is a challenge right now, and I think we all know that. And we have to be very focused and sensitive to our clients, because right now people are scared. They're worried. Well, some, unless you live in Florida and you're on those beaches, as Stephen was talking about earlier. But instead of selling to people, to my clients, I'm really just trying to connect, reconnect, write letters, handwritten letters, not an email, although email's okay. But I think especially for those clients that I've had to cancel because through no fault of anybody, their vacation plans are now on hold. So I write that letter, make it very personalized, talk about, how I appreciate them so much and that I'm so glad I'm here to help them, while also saying, this is not the end of the world, and let's focus on this when the world opens back up. So following up with your clients that have had cancellations, I think that's really important, because I guarantee you, when this is all over, our clients are going to come back in droves, and the ones that you've helped and bent over backwards, they are going to share your names with their friends, with their family, and they're going to say, look, Michele, or whatever your name is, they were amazing, they helped. I've already gotten that. In fact, one of my clients recently shared with over 3,000 of her Facebook friends. She said, you've got to check out Destinations by Design. We had this amazing trip planned. We couldn't go, but please go like her page. We have over 3,000 Facebook likes on our business page, partly because of her. So if you think that it's not important to connect, that is just do it. Just connect with your clients, because it does work, and it will come back to bless you.
Yeah, agreed.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dawn.
Yeah, I agree with Michele. She and I have a very similar philosophy. Instead of focusing on sales, I'm focusing more on client care. And that is not only clients with current trips scheduled, but previous clients. Reaching out, touching base with them, whether it's a quick text or an email. I am emailing my full client base, but I'm not emailing with, I've got this amazing deal on this cruise or whatnot. I'm emailing and connecting with them on what's going on in the world and what my family personally is doing to kind of survive this. So that's how I am selling. I'm not selling. I'm making those connections and really creating that relationship with my clients, including reaching out to past clients.
Okay, great. Stephen?
I have to say, I agree with a lot of what they're saying. I'm going to sort of echo a lot of what they're saying as well. In our market right now, we really have to kind of take a different approach. And basically, everyone is being active. The question is, are you being reactive or are you being proactive?
Yeah.
A lot of people are being reactive right now, in the sense of the clients are reaching out. They're letting us know what's going on. They're kind of saying, we need to know what's happening over the next month or two, but we need to be more proactive, start reaching out to them, and also start considering what's going to be happening for June, July, and August, and having some sort of game plan in mind for a lot of those clients. Right now, it really is all about customer service and kind of reaching out and wrapping our arms around these kinds of people. I love Michele's idea about kind of really ask your clients for a recommendation or a review. We are going those extra miles and bending over backwards in a lot of cases for our clients, where a lot of the online travel agencies are not. So feel free to reach out and ask them. Don't be afraid. Just say, hey, would you mind writing me a review or a recommendation? Here's my Facebook, here's my Google, anything that you can get your name out there a little bit. And so instead of being a hard push sell, you can do a soft sell and really just get your name out there a little bit more.
Some of the ideas that I've seen other agents say is reach out to your clients even now, show them that you care, especially the ones that are booking with you for a long time, maybe even these higher end clients. Just show them that you're still there, and then you'll be there even after everything that has been going on. Tony has asked. He said that he's not a creative writer, and he asked if any of you might share a sample of what you're sending to your clients at this time.
If I'm reaching out to my clients, I'm saying the same thing I'm saying to my friends. Hey, I'm checking in on you. How are you doing? If they're local, is there anything you need? Is there anything I can do? Even if they're not local, let me know if you want to talk or if you just need an ear. They're our friends, right? Like, we like the people we work with most of the time.
And I agree with that. I actually just sent out an email mailer to my entire database, like Dawn was saying. And basically, I reached out and said, how are you doing? we are in a time period that a lot of people are not used to, and a lot of people are either working from home or furloughed or potentially even laid off. And really, they kind of just want somebody to reach out, ask how they're doing, really reconnect with them. And you can do that on more of a personal level. As far as social media, you can also take it to the next level and try to make things funny, try to make light of a little bit of this situation, because we all know that a lot of people are going through hardships, and we're all just pretty much in this together, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that has to help make people laugh. I try to be very positive. Because once I go down that negative alley, it's hard for me to get out. So just, Stephen, like you said, you get on social media, you can post some funny memes. Keep it business appropriate. You don't want to offend your clients, unless those are your clients. But and back to Tony, as far as what do you write, have 3 parts. Just like in English class. An introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Your introduction can be, like Dawn said, just, hi, I'm checking in on you. And then your ending, your conclusion can be, thanks again for being such a valued client. And then it's that middle section. If they already have a trip booked with you, just reiterate, thank you so much for booking your travel. Or if they had to cancel, I am so sorry this happened to you. Please know that I am here for you, not only now, but in the future. It's not rocket science. You don't have to write 2 pages of a letter. A small note, I recommend a local printer, Vistaprint. You can get, 100 notes for relatively inexpensive. Just start writing away. We're not real busy right now, guys. So take this time, because I guarantee it is going to come back. People will remember these little things you've done.
Yeah, agreed.
So Sheila's asking, how are you handling guests that have upcoming trips? Maybe final payment is coming soon, September, October. Any of you are reaching out to them proactively? I guess we don't really need to share about what's going on, because everyone knows what's going on in the world. But Michele, we'll start with you. Are you approaching your clients that have future bookings that haven't contacted you yet?
I'm going to be honest. I'm trying not to open up that can of worms, because people are already, if they address it with me, absolutely. But for the most part, we did, our agency did open up, we sent a mass email to our clients, and it wasn't, hey, please book with us, yada, yada, yada. It was we touched on what we're doing with our time. We shared with our clients what we're personally doing. And then at the end, we put down, now let's talk about COVID. Saying, you know what, for those of you that have cancellations for working with you, for everyone else, we're going to address these as time moves on, because right now we really don't know. And I think that's really pacified most of our clients that have bookings coming up in July and later. A few, and literally I can count on one hand how many of my clients have come and said, hey, I've got a cruise in July or November. And I just tell them, look, let's leave it. Let's just have a positive outlook and know that this is going to happen unless it changes. Because why cancel? Why cancel and go in penalties? So let's just move forward like it will happen.
Okay, and Dawn, I'll also add something to that question. Are you also recommending your clients to maybe rebook? So don't cancel. See what the benefits are in actually just changing.
Definitely. So most of the suppliers, the message they are giving to us as travel advisors is, hold tight, don't cancel, don't panic, don't have that knee-jerk reaction. So that's what I'm expressing to my clients. I'm saying, hey, if your final payment isn't for several months, let's just hold tight. If their circumstances change and they really do need to cancel, then absolutely, I will process that. But I'm asking them to either hold tight and wait, until their final payment to to make a decision, or if their final payment is approaching, taking a look at the specific situation and seeing what that specific supplier is doing, if they are offering additional travel credits, if they should have a cancellation at that point in time. I'm letting the client make the decision. At the end of the day, it is their decision. But my goal is to always let's not make a reactionary choice, and let's instead, make a decision based on the facts that we have at hand.
I don't know if we lost Dawn for a second. Everyone else is, yeah, okay. So Stephen, let's go with you, and we'll check up on Dawn.
Definitely. So kind of circling back to what they were both saying is, at the end of the day, we are travel advisors. We all need to kind of come at this from a perspective that we are going to inform and advise our clients properly. And in doing that, I think just giving them all of the right information. So kind of what Dawn was saying, the message from a lot of suppliers right now is coming out and saying you should definitely be rebooking your travel. A lot of them kind of took a very reactionary approach, like what she mentioned, and started giving refunds and basically canceling bookings right off the bat. And I think they started realizing that it would make more sense to start issuing credits both for us as the advisors, because it kind of secures our bookings and all the work that we've done, but also for them as the travelers to give them a little bit more of a peace of mind. And as far as those people that are traveling later in the year, like September, October, that are really coming up right now with those questions, what I kind of do is explain to them that they are in a position where they haven't made their final payment in many cases. It may be coming up, but as they've seen from a lot of the suppliers, they are giving concessions, they are conceding where it's needed. And as of right now, it hasn't affected anything for September, October. So if for some reason it's going to be pushed back, I would highly assume that the suppliers will be making all of those necessary and right decisions to kind of back us as travel advisors, but also the clients to ensure they're not put in harm's way.
Thank you. And we lost Dawn. She said that there are some storms coming in, so she lost power. So hopefully, if it comes back, we'll get her back. But for now, I guess it's just the three of us. So we talked about, or I saw lots of questions about insurance. Selling travel insurance, recommending travel insurance. I know it's a tricky subject, and as I've mentioned at the beginning, we will have a few suppliers this coming week to talk about insurance. But Michele, is that a subject that you want to touch on?
Sure. I think we need to be very careful about how we advise our clients, and this is true whether we're dealing with COVID-19, hurricanes, or just under normal situations. I do tell my clients insurance is always a great tool to have, and I do recommend it, especially when traveling internationally. But I don't, and this is good practice anyway, I don't guide them on what is covered and what's not. Those specific questions really do need to be addressed with the insurance company. The nice thing about what's going on here is for the travelers that were in Europe or in Asia, most of the insurance companies that I'm aware of, if a client did get sick with COVID-19, they were paying for those medical. But things can always happen. It doesn't just have to be COVID. So please don't say to your clients, you don't need it because it's not going to cover it, because it's simply not true for the whole scheme of things.
Okay, thank you. Stephen?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Michele. I think one of the biggest things, whether you're a new advisor or you're a veteran professional, is that you really need to just understand that we are not insurance agents. So we cannot give people certain what if scenarios and all those sorts of things. Like Michele mentioned, they are covering a lot of the sickness that is happening with any clients or anybody that do get COVID-19, which is amazing because as is in the policy, it's usually covered for medical reasons while you're traveling. That is why we push insurance a lot. It's not even so much for the cancellation. It is because a lot of US-based health insurances do not cover clients when they are traveling overseas. in that same token, regarding travel protection, it is wise to remember that there are a lot of different caveats and all that do come within the policy. So what I usually do is send the policy documents over to the clients and let them read it. And I quote it on every trip, and I definitely recommend it for everybody that's going to be traveling.
Yeah. So again, remember that when you're selling travel insurance, as Stephen said, it's not just for the cancellation. It has the insurance at the destination as a key feature. And also, some of the suppliers are still offering cancel for any reason, either with a refund or with a credit. So it's always best to know what the product is that you're selling, give clients the option. I think that legally we have to offer travel insurance to clients. You might have an issue later if you sold them something that has a penalty and you haven't offered insurance at all. You can send a link. You can send even a link to the insurance company's website, or even give them a phone number if you don't feel comfortable selling it. But I highly recommend that an insurance option will be available for people, a proof that you sent it. Some people will even say, I make sure that you get a yes or a no from them in writing. But honestly, just make sure that you at least send the option, give them the opportunity to take a look and decide for themselves if they want it or not. Same thing as we're telling people to sell, not to sell out of your own pocket. If for some reason you don't believe in insurance right now, client might. So just give them the option and the opportunity to purchase it.
And one thing too that I would like to add as well is one of the biggest things that a lot of the insurance companies and suppliers do say is that a cancellation for the fear of traveling is not covered. That is never a reason. So in a lot of these cases, a lot of these clients are coming to us and they're saying, I need to cancel my trip for October. And when you say, well, what is the reason? And they say, because of the coronavirus. Is it because it's the fear of what could potentially happen, or is there actually a case that is causing this cancellation? If it is the fear of traveling because of something that may happen in October, they will not cover that. And so just keep that in mind when you're dealing with a lot of your clients.
Welcome back, Dawn.
Thank you.
We were talking about selling travel insurance. We're going to skip you for that question because we probably covered most of it. I saw some questions. I saw Susan was asking, saying that a lot of her clients, she sells a lot of Royal Caribbean, I guess, and the future cruise credit that Royal is offering, the problem that I've been hearing is that it can't be applied as a first payment. So you have to have a deposit on the booking and then apply the future cruise credit. What I can tell you from my experience is I spoke to my clients. We actually made a deposit. They paid the deposit. We applied the future cruise credit. And in the same day, we applied for a refund for the deposit. So technically, if they're not paying by debit card, if they're paying with a credit card, they will be able to see the charge and see the credit on the same statement. So technically, they are not paying. I know you already have $2,000-$3,000 with the cruise line. Why am I going to pay another $500? Look, it's a technical thing. We're having the same issues with airlines when the ticket just expired after a year. It's just technically impossible to hold the ticket more than 1 year. It's impossible. And some of these situations have never happened before. So you have to understand. Your clients might not understand, but they need to trust you, and you need to trust the supplier that if you're charging the deposit and then applying the future cruise credit and doing the refund, that the refund will hit the account even before the actual charge. So that's my recommendation. That's how I've been able to overcome that fear of making another deposit when they already have a future cruise credit.
Yeah, and I can also kind of say I actually had the same exact issue, and I reached out to my BDM or Sam with Royal Caribbean, and what was actually explained to me is that as long as it's further out than the final payment date right now, Royal Caribbean will postpone your deposit until May 31st. And under the FAQs of Royal Caribbean, if you look at question number 20, it actually highlights the deposit policy specifically regarding these future cruise credits. And so if you go over to Cruising Power and open up the coronavirus update that they've posted, like I said, just look at their FAQs and look at question number 20. That was the one that was highlighted for me, and it definitely talks about the deposit policy with Royal Caribbean regarding FCCs and how you can apply them accordingly.
Okay, thank you. A question that came up was regarding plan to go fees, commission protection. Michele, do you currently charge any fees for
Generally, no. It's not that I'm against them. I think this is a very personal business decision that each advisor needs to make for themselves. But for me, I don't. And have I lost money? Absolutely. Have I worked for free? Absolutely. But I have, no offense to y'all, but I have the best clients in the world. We have a relationship. And I think when it comes down to it, when you have a relationship with your clients, they trust that when you're not charging a fee, when I don't charge a fee, they trust me enough to continue to book. Again, it doesn't work 100% of the time. Yes, I lose money, but I think in the long run, it's what works best for our agency.
Thank you. Stephen? Oh, I'm sorry. We skipped Dawn. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. I do charge a fee for certain vacation types, not across the board. I charge that as an upfront fee. It is not a plan to go fee. It is for my services that I'm rendering. For the particular vacation types that I do charge a fee for, I'm putting in a lot of hours and giving them a lot of extra benefit beyond just booking their trip. I don't charge a cancellation fee. I know that a lot of agents do, or agents are talking about it right now, wondering how to do that. I find it prohibitive and just haven't found a way to make it a seamless transaction to charge a cancellation fee. And I don't want anybody to have a bad taste in their mouth. And just like Michele, there are times when you lose money and you walk away having put in a lot of investment and you walk away with no return. But unfortunately, it's the nature of our beast. So that's how I set it up.
Do you apply, let's say they cancel this trip, or do you tell them, so the next one I won't charge you, or when they canceled right now, or if they call again to rebook, you're still going to charge them the fee?
So I do have specific terms in my planning fee invoice where I say that this is a non-refundable fee. It is for this vacation. If they cancel, then the services are considered rendered incomplete and do not roll over to the new ones. I have not had it with this particular situation. In this situation, if it was a good client and they were rebooking with me, I would waive a second fee. You know, I mean, I certainly have the right to waive fees anytime I choose to. So if it were the right situation, and if they were, you know, genuinely like their vacation got canceled and they were planning for another vacation, I would most likely waive that for them.
Okay. Stephen?
Very much kind of the same conversation that they've both had. As far as Michele's concerned, I agree that it is absolutely a business decision that each agency has to kind of make their own decision from, because I know a lot of agencies that do charge fees and it works very well for them. They have a lot of walk-ins, they may be storefront. Even the ones that don't, they work from home. They look at it as that is their value and they are charging based on their value. There's also a lot of advisors that don't charge fees because they feel that it makes them a little bit more competitive, which is totally understandable as well. Like Dawn, I kind of pick and choose as far as itineraries are concerned. A lot of our built-out FITs we do charge fees for, but if we're just booking a quick cruise or a quick all-inclusive or something, we typically don't charge a fee. Like I said, FITs, larger groups, those sorts of things, the things that we actually have to spend more time with, the things that we're definitely spending more resources on, those are typically where I spend my where I charge my fees. And like Dawn said, they are typically non-refundable and they do not roll over to other vacations. But of course, we are in unprecedented times, so we would probably make exceptions with what's going on right now.
Okay, perfect. I think we have a following comment regarding the Royal Caribbean with the FCCs. Susan, she's saying that if the new sailing costs more, so no refund will happen. I don't think that's true based on what I know. If final payment is not due, all you need to apply is the actual deposit. So so if the FCC covers more than the deposit, based on what I've heard and got from them, they will refund the deposit even if the cruise is more. Again, you still have a final payment date. And if you're before final payment, you should get a refund for your deposit.
And keep in mind that future cruise credits do not apply typically to taxes, port charges, or gratuities or insurance. So that is going to be an added cost to the clients, even above and beyond the FCCs that are applied.
Right, and some cruise lines have refunded the taxes, the fees, the beverage package extras, excursions. So your client got some of the money back in any way. Someone is asking what if the company goes bankrupt? So that's some of the questions that people come up with. So I have a credit, but I'm not sure that airline will still exist in that time period. Michele, do you have that? Did you hear that question? How are you dealing with this?
I think about that for myself, for my clients. We will cross that bridge when we get to it. I have to be cognizant that it is a possibility for some of our suppliers, but I can't worry about it before it happens. Again, I'd like to be proactive instead of reactive, but in that case, there's just not, it's completely out of our control.
Okay. Dawn, do you have, you experienced this?
I have seen other travel agents ask this question in some of the groups that I'm in. I think number one, we as travel advisors, we use suppliers that we trust, that have a history, that provide great customer service. That is what makes us different over just going on the internet and finding some vacation and booking it, right? So number one, hopefully we're working with suppliers who have some longevity and are financially solid, fiscally solid. The only other thought that I have had is some third-party travel insurers do include coverage for bankruptcy of supplier. You will have to go into your travel insurance provider and really carefully look at that policy, and also make sure that the suppliers that you are using are covered under that, because it's not an across-the-board thing. Really, that's the only protection that you could potentially have in that situation. Yeah, right. I'm like Michele, we'll cross that bridge when we get, should that happen, and have insurance.
Steven?
So unfortunately, I just had this question come up with a client yesterday, and I did some homework on it. There's a couple different answers that I have. As far as the tour operators are concerned, the United States Tour Operator Association, USTOA, actually does register US-based tour operators. As long as they are registered with them, they are typically covered under a certain policy amount that they'd be able to reimburse clients for those kind of vacations that were canceled or not. If they end up going through bankruptcy, there's usually a bond that will cover for reimbursement to the clients. The other thing is there is a larger OTA that's out there that went under, and I'm not going to name any names or anything, but I found out that when they went under, the clients basically lost all their money because the OTA was holding on to the funds instead of sending them over to the suppliers that they are supposed to be processed through. So what I would say is, if you are ever concerned of that, I would reach out to the tour operator that you're working with, as well as the individual hotels and airlines, to find out if the funds have moved from the tour operator over to the individual hotels and airlines. Because as long as that's the case, a lot of the hotels and airlines will still be able to honor the tickets or hotel rooms that have already been purchased, as long as it's not the tour operator that's holding onto those funds. It gets very convoluted, but it does give you a little bit of a safety net in that regard. And like Don had mentioned, I would certainly look through the travel insurance policies, because some of these suppliers are under there, but it does have to be a named supplier. A lot of the local DMCs and smaller companies, smaller hoteliers and whatnot, are not covered. So just keep that in mind when we're dealing with a lot of these situations.
Right. Just again, remember that there are some protections regarding bankruptcy in terms of, again, insurance companies, even credit card companies might cover you in case the suppliers goes under. It is, it's a risk at any point, not just today. There's no magic. As Michele said, when we get to it, we'll figure it out. For the most part, I don't think the bigger companies right now will go under. If you've worked with a local DMC, a small company, I understand the risk, and I would try and see what we can do to get a refund. I don't see ALG or Royal Caribbean currently going under. They might close one of their brands, or they might do something, or one company will buy the other, but I'm not seeing United going bankrupt at this point.
On that same token, I just talked to a rep over at one of the cruise lines yesterday, and they basically said the same exact thing. They said that they don't see any huge changes coming financially for them, but they are very glad to be part of a larger parent corporation that would be able to hopefully subsidize some of that blow for them. Because if one is going to be affected, it does affect the entire parent company, but they do have that extra leverage that kind of gives us the peace of mind that we are covered a little bit.
Victoria's asking, who do you use for travel? I'm not sure what the question is, but do you recommend insurance through the tour operator or a third party? In general, these are quite two different products. It depends on what it is that you're selling. If you're selling everything in a package, in the one package, so the hotel, the transfers, the excursions, everything in one, then okay, you can consider using the cruise lines or consider using the tour operator. If you're buying it through a third party, you can include other things that you booked out of the system, including transfers or excursion that you booked directly. Even the taxi to get them to the to the airport can be included if you're doing a third party. But of course, the only way to get close to 100% cancel for any reason is to actually use the supplier, and not if you're using a third party, meaning Allianz, Travel Guard, CSA, all these companies, they're canceled for any reason is only up to 75, maybe 80% at max. I don't think there's anyone that has more than that. So it really depends on what it is that you're selling, how you bought the product. It's very different. You just have to learn about insurance. What's the difference between each and every product? And you know what? Give your clients the options. Tell them this is a cancel for any reason. This is a third party. It's normally a lot cheaper. It has better coverage at the destination, but their cancellation coverage is not as good. So you have, or it doesn't cover the cancel for any reason. I have to say that up until now, the only cancel for any reason that I used to sell are for honeymooners and destination weddings. Because when I talk to a family, I tell them, will you wake up in a month or two and just say, oh, you know what, I just don't want to go. And that's the reason to use a cancel for any reason. Again, up to right now with our current situation. But in general, I don't really recommend a cancel for any reason insurance because it's expensive. And I don't think people will actually use it. But that's for me and my clients. I still give them the option for the cancel for any reason. I still give them the option without any cancellation insurance. It's just the same as other products that you guys are offering. Give the client the option to pick. Make sure that they know all the information. It's their choice. They're adults. Give them all the options.
Can I add on that, Roy?
Of course. Because
I generally don't recommend the supplier insurance just because it's usually more expensive with a lot less coverage. I will recommend it for my elderly clients if it makes sense to do so. But what I tell clients that are on the borderline or really don't want the insurance is I remind them that we're not buying insurance just to protect their initial vacation investment. If you can afford to go on a vacation, you can afford to lose that money. Now, we don't want to lose that money, but I remind them that it protects them for catastrophic situations, such as having to be airlifted. What if you're in Africa and something serious happens? You have a heart attack and you have to get back to the United States and you have to be medevaced here. These are things that can bankrupt families. So you don't want to scare them, but you do want to give them the information so that they can make an informed decision.
Good. Anyone to add on this specific subject?
Yeah, I've actually got a little bit to add as well. So I know we've kind of been talking a lot about the tour side of things, and having the CFAR, cancel for any reason insurance with the tour operators is great because, like we've been saying, it's a great way that if we wake up in the morning and our hair's a mess, we don't, or for those that have hair, then you can actually just cancel your entire trip in that regard. However, what we're kind of missing is the cruise line policies. A lot of times what I always tell clients with the cruise lines too is that the cruise line insurance typically doesn't start until you actually start your vacation, which is when you get on the ship. So if you book a third-party insurance, it actually will cover you from door to door, and that'll also wrap in your flights and everything if they're booked separately, kind of like what you mentioned, Roy, as far as kind of piecemealing the itineraries. So for a lot of my clients, I do typically recommend a third party. And like Michele said, I've noticed that a lot of the third-party insurance companies are a little bit stronger of a coverage, and I've noticed that my clients have had no problem with their claims. I don't mean to say any names out there, but a lot of the tour operators that we use things like TripMate and Aon and those, and I've seen several different problems along the way, unfortunately.
Okay. Dawn, anything to add?
I don't know if you covered this one. I lost power, but just make sure that you are offering things in writing, that you are letting your clients know of all of the options. In the past, I wouldn't always recommend CFAR. Now I cancel for any reason. Now I will just, from now on, we will make sure that our clients are aware that that is available if they want that. Making sure that even if they tell me verbally that they don't want travel insurance or to remove it, that I'm sending them something in writing saying, per your request, I have removed the travel insurance. And then just making sure that if they did decline travel insurance, that I'm offering it again before they pay in full. At the end of the day, those are my big tips for covering yourself.
And one other good thing to keep in mind too is we are travel advisors, and part of our business is making commission, unfortunately. So we have to keep in mind that a lot of these insurance companies do pay on average about 28 to 32%. So booking through a third party could also increase your profit margins as well.
Definitely.
I see a comment and it says, I always say, I don't know who it is. I always say, if you slip and break a leg and need urgent care, you're going to wish you had paid that extra $110. So here's a funny story, maybe funny for you, not so much for me. They call them accidents for a reason. These things are not planned. I was in my own home, got out of bed, and just had a drop in blood pressure. A lot of us sometimes feel like a little dizzy. Well, I felt more than dizzy, and I actually passed out, fell on myself, and I broke my leg, my tibia and fibula, and I'm still recovering from that. That's been over a year. It was at my ankle, and that's very normal to have a year plus recovery. So what would have happened if I was on that cruise ship or in Ireland or wherever? My medical bills were well in excess of $25,000. And what if I was somewhere else and needed to get home? They're accidents, guys. We don't plan on them, but they do happen.
Right. And I see questions about, who's your favorite third-party provider? I can tell you that a lot of them are similar, but they have specific policies that are different. I used to use one one supplier that used to give kids for free all the time for families, because that's most of what I sell, families. And on the other hand, I had another supplier who was better for elderly people. So it really depends. I don't think you need to have one in this specific situation. Same as with your tour operators or with cruise lines or even a hotel. Have an arsenal of a few good companies that you know that are actually paying the claim and have a good coverage. Because again, paying the claim is key. If you found someone online that is cheaper for $5, $10, but eventually when they submit the claim, your clients won't get his money back, then what's the point? The point is to know that these companies will actually pay. So use big names, big companies. Most of the policies are the same. They do have specific things like when if you need the pre-existing conditions, if you need it from certain days from the deposit, if you need kids free, if they're elderly, something, work-related reasons. Just see which one offers what's unique, what's different about each and every policy, and based on the specific situation, based on the specific client, make the decision and make the recommendation to book. So personally, I don't have one. I have three, sometimes even four when I have to. It really depends on the actual situation, the trip, the clients, and what we need.
Yeah, and I would say, even circling back to how this whole conversation got started as far as selling in today's market and all that, I would certainly say find your preferred suppliers and partner up with them. Make sure that you guys have these representatives that are going to go to bat for you, because in these troubling times, that's when we need them the most. It's not just when we're looking to increase our sales or what the next step is to really get our name into the market. It really is when it comes down to these times. This is really where the travel advisor comes up as the #1 role versus the OTAs and all that. So really secure yourself with, like Roy said, about 2 to 3 to 4 different suppliers that you can certainly rely on and that you can reach out to in times of emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually narrowing down my travel insurance providers based on this. I do use a variety of different ones depending on the trip and the needs and the client's budget consciousness. And there is one supplier that I have been using that when it came down to it, they were not going to get a whole lot of coverage based upon the policy. And once I sat down and really compared and looked at the policies between this supplier that's a little more budget friendly, the coverage, it's just not worth it. So I don't think I'm really going to be offering them very much anymore. So get to know those policies pretty well.
Okay. Are you promoting right now to sell? Are you posting on social media? Are you trying and get people to book? Michele, is that something that you are considering right now?
So I do belong to Ensemble's marketing plan, and they are sending out material on my behalf, which I think is okay. It reminds people that, hey, this is not the end of the world. And it's not like they're being inundated with supplies, with mailings and emails. However, I'm trying to be very tasteful in my own emails to my clients or my own Facebook postings. And I've really put that on the back burner and instead focus on very positive things, whether it's posting funny memes or putting out there, hey, and this may seem silly to you, but we get engagement. Hey, where would you want to travel? Put in a place starting with the first letter of your first name. And people interact, and I think that's okay. People are bored. They're looking at Facebook. Now's a great time to use Facebook as a marketing tool without being insensitive.
Okay. Dawn?
Yeah, so I am similar to Michele. I do use BranchUp, which is a social media posting on Facebook. And I am just monitoring what they're posting. I'm looking very carefully and sometimes changing the wording. So I am still marketing. I am marketing towards like future travel or so something that I sent out via email is I sent out an email to all of my clients and I called it Sanity Savers. So they're the little things that my family is doing or neat things that I've discovered, favorite musicians of mine that are doing concerts live online or, museum tours. So that's one way I'm marketing to my clients. So I'm not really selling to them, but I'm just talking about ways that we can get through this together and coming together as a community. But online, I am marketing also virtual vacations. So you know what? If you just need to get away from the four walls, there are some really great resources. YouTube, all of our suppliers have really good videos on YouTube, so I'm sending those on. There is something called Virtual of the Seas. It's a Royal Caribbean cruise director, Abe Hughes is his name, and he's been taking people on a daily cruise. So that's something that's fun to share and a way to keep people thinking about vacationing without actually selling. Stephen said earlier, it's the soft sell, not the hard sell. But just keeping front of mind, and people are going to want to go places after this. ASTA also has a really great marketing program going on right now. They're calling it Armchair Travel. And if you go to ASTA's website, they have some pre-built social media content for you that you can download whether you're a member or not. They've got Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook posts, photos with the hashtag Armchair Traveler or postpone, don't cancel. So a couple of those different programs. So that's the way that I'm reaching out to my travelers and letting them know that, so number one, I'm thinking about them and I'm providing them resources to help them get through this, but then also just providing some information about bucket list trips, dreaming, looking forward. So that's the way that I'm marketing to my clients.
Great. Stephen?
Yeah, so kind of like what they're both saying, it really is about just getting more creative at this point. Like we've mentioned before, it's about the customer service and all that as well. Like Dawn mentioned with the Virtual of the Seas, I think that's an incredible program, and there's some hotels that are doing it too. I just heard the Ka'anapali Resort over in Hawaii is doing a virtual tour to kind of bring people to Hawaii, even though they can't right now. And I would say reach out to these suppliers. Like I'd mentioned, it is really about pulling in your partnerships. One of the things that I'm doing right now is working with a couple BDMs to kind of just put together a message that basically talks briefly about their supplier that they work for, kind of where they're at, what they're doing for everybody, and let everyone know that we're going to be bouncing back and we work together and really use those partnerships. And on that same token, one of the biggest things that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks that I've been kind of at home and having a little more free time is working on my business instead of in my business. And in doing that, I'm creating new partnerships with some of these local businesses. Like I just met up with a local wellness company. They do life coaching and business coaching, but they also do wellness retreats and everything. And wellness retreats are one of the niche markets that we're actually focusing on coming out of this. And I think a lot of people are going to need that. So just start thinking about different opportunities that could come to you that you could kind of, what I'm doing with this wellness group is just basically saying, hey, if anybody needs somebody to talk to, anybody needs to vent, anybody needs some great little ideas that are going on online, just go check this page out. And building those partnerships will help grow your market down the road. So just really get creative about these different opportunities that are out there.
Okay, great. I saw the Virtual of the Sea, but I thought it was just a meme for some. I didn't know it was actually a real. You said a cruise director. Is there information? Can you guys later maybe post the link or put something on so
Definitely
review that? Sounds like a fun idea. People are looking for stuff to do, and they're at home. And I have to say that I've started to see some suppliers starting to promote. I know Norwegian was offering the 20% discount for a future cruise if you book it by April 10th. Remember that a lot of your clients and not necessarily your clients. So if people booked it with Vacations to Go cruise outlets directly with Norwegian and they got that certificate is transferable. If you are not reaching out to your clients or you are not promoting, again, gently, and letting them know that you are available to offer them options, they might go somewhere else. I'm part of a few other consumer groups, and people are looking for deals. People are, oh, I saw this for $59. I saw this, and they're booking for May, June, might get canceled. But the concept is that they're looking. They want to go away. Some of the young kids that are not staying home, which they should, but they're eager to go. As soon as flights open, cruise lines start sailing, they will be on these ships. So try and somehow be in their faces so they'll know that you're there and available.
Kind of touching on what you were just talking about too, is one thing that everybody should keep in mind is that we right now are having to work from home, and a lot of people are getting furloughed and laid off. However, all of the essential employees that are out there are still working. They're working overtime. They're working big time hours right now. They're getting paid, like I said, either overtime or bonuses to actually be there and help out. And a lot of times that we can't, and they're going to be the ones that need the vacations at the end of the day. So keep that in mind after all this is said and done as well.
Right. What we came up with, again, remember that teachers, people who work in the education industry, they're home, they're working, but they're still getting their salary, but they have the cabin fever. They will need and want to get away. So they were not really affected by financially by the decision to stay home. They haven't lost their job. They still have the money. Of course, 401ks might have been hit, but in general, they are still about the same financial situation. Maybe try and reach out to people that you know that are in these essential businesses that will really want to get away as soon as it's possible. Even if you're planning for next April, next Christmas, 2021 Christmas. Some cruises, I saw MSC opened up the schedule for 2022. So if you're not sure about the situation, I think everyone who will say, 2 weeks maybe not realistic, 2 months still might be too early, but in a year and a half from now, people will probably travel. It's safe to assume. So if they're willing and their finance hasn't been affected that much, they might be still willing to put a deposit for a cruise in a year and a half from now. Right. So just something to think about.
Roy, because I believe people are stir crazy, and something that I have not done, but I'm considering doing, is sending out, I don't know if I'm going to do it to all my clients, but certainly some of my favorite clients, my loyal, and say, look, I know this is, these are hard times for everybody, and something I want to do for you is give you X amount of money off, or if it's a ship, some extra onboard credit, so that when we get through this together, you have something to look forward to. Again, not sure exactly how I'm going to implement that, but sorry, guys, that was my daughter, who is in the other room, is FaceTiming me. He's 16. So, but it's something that I'm seriously considering. I don't pretend to think everyone will take advantage of it, but just trying to say, hey, we're in this together. Thanks for being patient, and I want to help you do something down the road.
Great idea. Where is that? Okay, good. Again, I saw, Susan, we're still talking about the FCCs. I really highly suggest that you read the terms and condition. I'll post them now. It's a big chunk of it, but I don't think there is a limitation into what cruise you can pick. Again, for cruises, for all of the promotions that are coming in, the changes, the future, highly recommend use the links that the suppliers are giving. Learn them. It's new. Everything has changed. What you knew a month ago, that's why we're doing all of these, because things have changed, and you have to read, and you have to learn, and you have to know the new stuff, because you might give your clients a different answer, or they'll find out from from friends on another group that the other agent is allowing them to use it on a holiday cruise, or they don't have the same restrictions that you think that you have, and you might lose the deal. So I'm not saying it's possible some have restrictions. Make sure that you read it really well. If you're not sure, you can post a question on this group or in general, and we'll try and assist. But please first read all the rules. Make sure that you understand them. They change all the time. The validity, use by, what sailings, what vacation you can take, changing destinations. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a lot of work. So I don't blame anyone for and it's possible that at one point they said that they were excluded and then they changed their minds.
Right.
So just read it again. Always tell your clients right now that's the situation. It might change. Who knows? We really don't know what's going on. I'm sure they don't know as well. You're reaching out. I think Carnival hasn't even announced anything, but we all know they are not going to cruise April 12 or 13. It's just, or Alaska sailings, or Dominican. You have a person booked end of April, guys. They're unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they will go. They won't travel, even if they haven't made. Now, if the flights hasn't been canceled, and you're still in penalty, tell your clients to wait. Wait until the hotel gets canceled. Wait until the flights get canceled. You'll have more power, more leverage. But use this group, use the videos, use what we do. The whole point of doing this is for you guys to learn and know better, to make sure that we're all professionals. We're different than the bookit.com. We're different than the expedia.com, which I respect as a company, but they can't provide the same service that each and every one of us can give. So just have that in mind. Just think about it, learn, and be a better professional for your clients. Okay. So anyone has anything to add before we wrap this up? It's been an hour. It's actually been a really successful. I see a lot of people, lots of comments and questions. We'll be available here later to ask. You can ask questions. I'll try and answer. But any one of the panel, do you want to summarize? Do you want to? I think I kind of gave my summary. But if you any of you want to share a little bit more, Michele?
Just take this time to really focus on your own business. A lot of us, the past several weeks, at least for me, and I'm sure many of you, have been incredibly busy with the new norm, at least for the short term, the cancellations, rebookings. But now things are really slowing down. People don't have as much as that panic, like, oh my gosh, we got to cancel. We're getting a little bit more notice. So focus on your business. Do something that you wanted to do and just didn't have the time before. Maybe it's invest in your CRM. Maybe maybe you wanted to start writing those handwritten notes. Whatever it is for you, go for it.
Great. Dawn?
One big takeaway that I've had from this challenge that we're all going through is to really just make a point of touching base with my clients. Again, both the ones with existing bookings and past clients, or leads who have reached out to me but never ended up booking. Take the time to make that connection, and you will have some clients that will need a little extra hand-holding, and as time permits, go ahead and do that. Even if you have no new information about, if we're looking towards a cancellation for the end of April, but the cruise line hasn't made an announcement, go ahead and reach out to them and let them know, hey, I am still on this for you. I'm on your side. I'm your advocate. I don't have anything new to tell you, but I am all over this and I will be in touch with you. So just make sure to touch out, make those connections with your clients.
Steven?
I agree, absolutely, everything that they're saying. One of the other things that I would say is just make sure that you are staying positive, you're getting your message across, and you're really just letting your clients know that you are here for them, that you are basically still the advisor. You're the one with the expert knowledge and everything, so you become the resource for them. And most importantly, I would tell you guys, make sure you follow up with your clients, because everybody that's getting canceled on all of these future cruise credits, anybody that doesn't have credits that are going for refunds, they are going to want to book again. So put yourself a reminder, whether it be in 3 weeks, in 3 months, in 2 months, make it a short-term time, but certainly start following up with these clients again, because they are going to travel again, especially with all these credits and the extra money that they're going to have.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank each and every one of the panelists and everyone that is actually watching and engaging and messaging me and, you know, putting remarks on Facebook. I really appreciate it. It does encourage me and everyone that is willing to give their time to try and help this amazing community of travel agents. When I tell it to other people that in other industries, they just don't get it. We are not competitors. We are here to help each other. We are here to make sure that people appreciate travel professionals and understand that you need to book with a travel agent. Go on the website, check stuff, but when you're ready to book, make sure that you book with a professional. That's why we are doing this for you, for us as well. I am going to continue. If you have suppliers in mind, if you have subjects in mind, if you want to come and join and live with us and you're not camera shy, reach out to me. I would love to have you here talk about group business, corporate travel, weddings, honeymoons, anything, everything that you have in mind. I'm willing to, you know, we'll talk about the subject. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would be interested. Our next session for now is Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. with the Allianz. We don't have anything tomorrow for Sunday. I might post something if I am able to get some information regarding the SBA loans and the unemployment. If I can get more information, I will try and post a video or something about it. If not, I know ASTA on Monday, they're having a 3 p.m. session that they'll touch on the subject as well. I'm registered to that, so hopefully I'll have more information as well. Just hold on there. Assure your clients, and we're here for you, all of us. Thank you, Michele. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Don. Thank you to everyone. And we'll be in touch, and we're here for you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Have a great day.